Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Shine Wealthy. I am Chris Williams. I am so super excited to be here with my good friend and my personal coach, Sara Connell. Sara, I'm so excited to share you with everybody. You are such a powerful thought leader and woman in the world. I just am beyond excited to share people with you and to have you share your message on the importance of us as women, especially as women wellness entrepreneurs, holistic practitioners, to get our voice out there.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here, Chris. Thanks for having me, and hello, everybody.
Yes. So for those of you that don't know, Sara just wrote an amazing book. It's called The Science of Getting Rich for Women. I love it. I love it so much that I actually included as a gift for all of my clients. So Sara, it's pretty amazing. And I would love to just kind of start this conversation with, why do you feel that it's so important right now for women to use their voices to create an impact and a movement in the world?
Yeah, I love this, Chris, because I think my experience of being a woman for this lifetime and coaching women for the last 20 years is that I would wager that women have probably collectively used their voice about 10% of our potential power. So just like we use, there's those scientific findings, we use 10% of our brain potential. I believe we're using about 10% of our power potential. And one of the ways that we get to be more powerful is to be heard, whether that is speaking a message, writing a message, sharing a message, even vibrating our message, like actually letting ourselves be seen and heard is a terrifying proposition. And the reason I feel like it's so important now is because we've spent centuries externally, internally having oppression and repression of the feminine voice, of the female voice, of a more conscious voice, and not about gender, right? And right now we see the state of the world. So I think all we have to do is look. I don't personally watch the news because it is so absolutely depressing and awful that I don't even feel able to watch it. I try to be the change, and do what I can in the world. But we only need to look at any newspaper or Facebook feed to see that the systems and institutions and ways of being that we've been using, which is traditionally a more masculine patriarchal model, have not yielded oneness. They have not yielded peace. They have not yielded equality and abundance for all. And so we get to do it differently. And so that's why I think right now is particularly crucial for us to walk through the refining fire, and there is one, of being willing to be visible and being heard, because it's not a mild fear. Right. We can get into that, but it's not mild, but it is worth walking through. And most of us live in countries, depending on where you're watching this right now, where we really can. We actually really can, mostly safely, aside from some haters online, which is not fun, but also isn't going to kill us. Most of us have the freedom to use our voice. And I do think it's imperative that we use it now.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. So that just, reminds me of something that I saw yesterday. And it was, and this is not a religious reference at all, but women that were completely covered from head to toe in the burqas, right? It's not allowing them to be seen, not allowing them to be seen, and not allowing them to be heard.
How many times have we all, if we aren't in a particular tradition, I have a friend who said, she said, you Western women all think that we're suppressed in the burqa. And she said she'd never felt more like free and more powerful than in the burqa, because it was all the soul coming through her eyes. So like, who knows? It was really cool because she like gave me insight into a path, I haven't walked because of where I was born and all that stuff. And what I love about what you're saying is like, where are we putting the bushel over the light?
Yep.
And I know for myself that I have spent decades tamping it down out of fear, out of conditioning, because my family wasn't all too excited about my light in the way that I hoped and wanted, right? So I learned that it's not good, that I'm too much, that it's not safe, that if you are too big in your voice or your message, that you'll get squashed. That was my experience. And then I've recreated that for myself. I did that for a long time. And I still do the inner work to remind myself that it's worth it to to speak. And here's the deal, Chris, in my story, a woman wrote a book that saved my life. She isn't a famous person. So a lot of times we want to think, oh, when I'm a celebrity, I'll write a book. When I have 1 million followers on Instagram, I'll get up on a stage. When I'll put my Facebook ad out there or whatever it is, right? I'll launch my business. We put conditions and then think, when I'm such and such, I'll have permission somehow, like I'll be allowed or I'll feel confident enough. But the flip is that everyone who is doing those things, writing the books, being on the stages, having a big impact in their community, they did it first.
Yes.
We don't actually get to wait until we're pre-approved and feel confident. Mel Robbins is great on this. She's like, you want someone to discover you and make you a show, get on YouTube and start a show. Chris, you and I are doing that, right?
Yeah.
It's like, make your show. What are you waiting for? We live in an era where that is available. We don't have to go to 4 news networks like in the 1950s and 60s. It's here. And so I think a lot of us want, especially as women, we want someone to approve us, validate us, give us permission first. And the trick is, I think the opportunity here, the big breakthrough, is for women to claim it because we are. You're here, you deserve a voice, and your voice matters.
Yes. And you've got something on your heart to share, and you get to share it, right? We don't have to be Mel Robbins. We don't have to be Brene Brown. We don't have to be, already, raking in $1 million. As a matter of fact, I think that when you allow yourself to just stand confidently and authentically in a message that you want to share, that is impactful. And there are so many people that see it, regardless of whether you think that people see it or not. I know that's happened for me many, many times.
Listen, it is so crucial for us to remember that the audience size, the kind of old joke of size isn't important. It really isn't. Think about, you change a person's life, the ripple effects of that will go on for way past our physical time here. They just will. They just will. I was speaking with a friend who is, her son's in high school and he wants to be a doctor. That's kind of the path that he's on. And she went to a panel, like, because parents are like, oh God, my kid, whatever. And this doctor, the panel was asked, what does my kid need to do, if he wants to be a doctor? And she said, I'm going to say something that's really, not what you expect to hear. So everyone's like leaning in, right? It's a great way to get an audience, by the way, and she said, because everyone's going to tell you great SAT scores and do internships. And she's like, yeah, do all that. Of course. I mean, figure out your science. Yeah, you're going to have to do some science. She's like, read mysteries, read thrillers, read poetry, read essays, read the New Yorker, read whatever. Of course, I got so flicked. And so of course, that's why she was calling me to tell me this, like, hey, guess what? And it was so powerful because she said, but see, what I want to explain is like that woman doctor, okay, she's not a professional speaker. She's not out on the speaking. She's doing work. She's healing patients. But she was willing to get on that panel and speak a message that needed to be said. And it's changed the course of this child who's actually very artistic, who also wants to be a doctor. It liberated him from this, like, all I can do for the rest of my life is science. And we were on a vacation with them, as our good friends. And, we're at the bookstores and we're voraciously reading all the books and we're reading fun, and she just said, if you read enough, all your dreams will happen. Like, that's the portal.
Oh my gosh. I love that. That is so affirming. One of the things that I did when I was raising my children is we read and read and read and read and read. I was lucky enough to be able to homeschool my 3 boys. My oldest until he went to 10th grade, my youngest when he went to 2nd grade. But that's what we did. We read and read and read. And they love the readers today. They're both artistic, or, they're my earth lovers. And, I just want to share one other thing, because my son said this to me last night, and that reminded me of, we don't realize the impact that we're making just by being ourselves and just sharing who it is that we are, right? My son sat on my bed last night and he was just giving me a hug goodnight. He's like, Mom, you know what? I think I want to be a coach. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, I really do. Like, he loves nutrition and he loves working out. He's like, I really think I want to be a coach like you. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, yes, do it. But here it's because, he's just watching me be me. He's just watching me live my life. I'm not
Chris, I feel like everyone watching, like we could turn it off. Like you just said, it's like the power of being oneself. And actually, just in case anyone likes science to back things up, there was a study done recently. I don't have a link, otherwise I would share it with everybody. But I'm sure if we Google, we can all find it. The marketing research. So this is like people who are into the money.
Mm-hmm.
The number one thing that consumers ask for right now is authenticity. It's the only thing that they care about anymore. And like, look what you just said, the power of being, so if you're watching this and you're like, there is that business in me, there is that bigger stage, there is that book, whatever it is, like, it's not that calling isn't there accidentally.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
not.
It's someone's answered prayer. You're someone's answered prayer. And if we stay quiet and think we're not worthy, we're not good enough, we didn't get A's in school, we didn't do the right school, we're too old, we're too young, whatever the nonsense gremlin story is, then the world loses out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And they lose out big because the only reason why we have it on our heart is because there are people out there that need to hear it. Yes. And so when we put the kibosh, put that light underneath the basket, we're not actually helping people. And I know that women that are watching this as wellness entrepreneurs and holistic practitioners, like the reason why we got into this world as health coaches, life coaches, holistic practitioners, thought leaders, feminine entrepreneurs and leaders is because we want to make a difference. Yes. And it starts with you allowing yourself to be seen and heard, just authentically you. And you do that so beautifully in the Thought Leadership Academy that you run, which I have been a privilege to be a part of. But I also want to just kind of circle back to the reason why you actually wrote The Science of Getting Rich for Women, because that was like, there was a pivotal moment where you're like, oh, hell no, no more. I'm going to write this book. Would you share that story? Because it's such an inspiring story.
For sure. Any of us watching probably, when we get an assignment from the universe, if you will, the divine download, whatever, it's to me, that's like a thrilling experience of being alive, and living this way. And I know you live this way, Chris. So what happened is I was, last fall, I started a different book. I coach people on books. I write a lot of books. So I was working on a book that is going to come out next year now. And I was very happy with that book, didn't want a different project. And I got the newsfeed alert that said women had lost $800 billion to the pandemic.
800 billion.
With the B. And I thought, oh, this is a mistake. So when I get home, I'm going to go on and it's probably million, even though that's appalling. And I went on and no, it was billion. It's a study out of Oxfam. November of 2021. And so that is only so far, that was at the end of 2021. And I had friends who, many of whom actually quit jobs because their childcare kept shutting down on them. So they couldn't actually continue. So they went to single income households because someone had, they had younger children. I was lucky my son's in elementary school. So we were able to, he's in a school that got to, very small and got to go back and kind of pod and all that. So the point is, I knew multiple friends who were in situations where they had massive income reductions. Even my sister, who's a doctor, had to, they furloughed certain salaries, they canceled certain grants. So this affected, all echelons, all different, backgrounds and industries, and 800 billion. And I thought, I have a choice here. I can be pissed and stomp around on my walk, which I did for a few minutes, or what's the solution? What is it? Obviously I'm not going to have the whole solution, but what is a piece of the solution? And I had been listening to an audiobook of something else. And I remembered all my women coaches, Chris, this would recommend The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. So anyone who knows, this is an homage and also an evolution of an earlier book written in 1920 by a man named Wallace Wattles. But it's so patriarchal, like the whole language is just a man shall, and it feels very like, and look, it's a wonderful book. I say only good things. And I didn't want a book with a bunch of he pronouns. I don't want to translate anymore doing my abundance work. I just didn't want to. I was over it. And there are some amazing women wealth books that have been, kind of in this movement the last few years. Rachel Rogers, We Should All Be Millionaires, Amanda Francis, Rich AF, there's wonderful, these fun books. And I thought Oh, it's in the public domain. When something's 100 years or more old, you can use the title, you can play and be in dialogue. So I said, you know what I want? I want the science of getting rich for women. I don't want a guy who had a wife and a staff and never had to take care of his kids tell me how to make money. Like that, I don't have that lifestyle. I've got a child, I run a
Yes.
business, I'm an author. Like no one is, like that was not, it's not an option for me to write for 4 hours a day and go have a martini lunch. Like I wouldn't even want that lifestyle. Like Graham Greene and these dudes did, right? They were like, I wrote my 5,000 words. I'll go to the martini bar. And I'm like, must be nice to have like a staff and a wife. And like, you don't have to do a goddamn thing. So that's just my little,
Yep.
rant. But what I got into was, I want the science of getting rich for women. Let's reinvent. And I ended up not using anything of his book. I thought I was going to do like a call and response. I didn't use a single thing. I just took that title and said, what is the path for women? And Chris, I went from struggling like 5 years ago, you guys, 5 years ago, I was not making $20,000 a year as a coach. I was a coach on purpose. I was a coach who loved what I did. I was a coach who gave transformational results to people, and I couldn't make any money. Because I didn't know how, and I didn't believe in myself, couldn't do it. We've had this path. And you and I have both created multiple 7 figures at this point through our coaching. And I just was committed. It wasn't even about the money. It was about the belief in lack. I'm not going to be another woman who's making less than the men in my life. I'm not going to be another woman who can't contribute to her community and family. I'm just not going to be that. I had to do this work. And what came out of that inner work was what's in here. And it's a roadmap. And yeah, it's
an amazing roadmap. And the other part that I absolutely love about it is not only do you give people a roadmap, but you also share other women's stories.
Yes, because look, I'm a white woman. I don't want a book of, again, people could understandably feel the same way as we do about Waddle Swaddles. Like, okay, Sarah, you came from a middle-class background. Like granted, I went low and had a lot of trauma and challenges, but I wasn't living on the street. You know what I mean? Like I don't have the experience that represents everyone. So I sought out, and we're so excited, almost half the women in the stories are women of color from all different countries, backgrounds, industries. And it was crucially important for me that it wasn't just my voice. This is a science of getting rich for women, not a woman. Yes. And that was an exciting part. And plus I loved the joy of, I got to find these incredible women, hear their stories, put the book together, get inspired. I got super inspired. Like they all shared their secrets, they're not like holding anything back. They want us all to rise. So it's the roadmap is the magic equation of the science of getting rich, which breaks it down into 4 very easy steps. One of which is just passive. So it's really 3 main things that we get to do, and how to do it. And then you get to hear the 25 other women, self-made women millionaires during the pandemic.
Amazing.
So we blast through. And here's what's so fun. Like we can again go 800 billion. Also in 2022, women-owned businesses have created 80% of the economic growth and new jobs.
Wow.
That's a new statistic. Which is so exciting. Since this even came out, I found that out. And so we can feel very excited and optimistic about our power and our capability. If anyone's watching and thinking, I know I'm doing what I'm here to do. I'm not making the money. You get to.
Yes.
You absolutely get to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why we brought the summit together too, right? It's called Shine Wellthy, because we want to help you be well and also wealthy, get your word out, and be well paid for sharing your gifts, that you are here to make a difference in the world. I mean, it's so important. And one of the passions that I have is to pull together all of these amazing women like you to share these golden nuggets that help people collapse the timeline quicker to allow themselves to be well paid, sharing their gifts, sharing their voice, making a difference in the world and creating an impact, which is just so incredibly powerful.
It's so important. Chris, could we do a little like technique for everybody that
please? Yes.
I love when I watch an interview, I want someone to not like, I'm like this, like, I love you to talk about your book, but like, give me something, like give me like a practice.
Give me something practical.
So one of the things that, this is a little precursor to the steps in the book. So if you've read the book, it's not gonna be redundant. So one of the things sometimes people tell me is, well, I don't think I have any blocks to money, like, I don't think, and I had a coach lovingly once say to myself in a group, you would already have everything you want if you didn't have any blocks. Like, it's just, don't take it personally. Don't make it a deficiency. Don't judge it. It's just, you do. Otherwise you already have everything you came here to do. So let's get over that idea right now.
Yeah.
But some people ask me like, but well, how would I know? Like what? Because one of the steps in the Science of Getting Rich for Women, step 2 is to release the false ideas, the limiting beliefs, the cultural, whatever you got told about your power to create, to be, do, have. And a lot of times that's a tricky step because we're dealing with like subconscious stuff. We don't know. So a fun game, and I do say game intentionally because otherwise this feels not fun. So I make it a game. And one of the ways is to look at your life right now. We get to look at money and say like, how is it feeling? So am I making like the amount I would like to make? Do I feel secure and abundant, right? Because sometimes we have money and we're constantly, but what if it goes away? Or what if I don't have some next month? Or have you had that? Like you'll have a big month.
Oh, totally.
And then think what if like the next 3 months aren't, so it's, especially as entrepreneurs, we don't have like some kind of paycheck. So one of the fun games you can play is just to look at what's happening in your life, because your life will reflect your current subconscious beliefs. That's just the truth. Health, relationships, and we're going to say, money in this scenario. And no judgment, total loving curiosity, just like, oh, is it where I would love it to be? Has it been hard? And then sort of peel back, like, is there anything in my past that I can imagine relates to what I'm experiencing in the future? This is a fun mind, like a brain neuroscience game. You say, so for example, for me, I was struggling to make $20,000 a year. And a really big, painful moment was going to my accountant at the end of that year and him saying, oh my gosh, I don't even think you'll pay taxes because you didn't make anything. And I felt just so small and ashamed. And it wasn't about him. He was totally honest. The truth, I felt so ashamed because I knew that I had more in me. If I thought that was the best I could have done, I would have been like, hey, jerk, like I'm proud of that $20,000. But it wasn't. I felt ashamed because I wasn't living my potential. Something was up. It wasn't matching who I know that I could be and the contribution that I could make in the world. And so a fun game is to then say, okay, I had that experience. And then I go, okay, well, what in my childhood? Oh, well, didn't take long to think about what were the messages that I received. And I do take you through that in the book. What were those experiences and messages? And people usually hate this part because we don't want to go back and be like, oh, childhood. But it's really worth just dipping in. Feel like you have a rope around your waist. So I'm just going to offer to everyone today, first, just look at your life and with total love and curiosity, how are finances feeling? How's the money feeling? And then see if any of the way it feels now reminds you of anything in your past. Does it remind you of what you saw in your parents? Sometimes we repeat, sometimes we actually swing the pendulum the opposite direction, but it also can be problematic, right? Just swinging it. So like my mother had a mother who was more focused on the external world. So she just rejected it all. She was just like, I'm not going to care about money, my parent, in my mind, like she can have her own experience of what that was like. That's what I have heard. And so that wasn't great either, right? Because then there's deprivation. And so the point being, did you get any messages that you're not worthy, that you don't deserve, that we have a mutual colleague, Chris, who her sister got all the shiny new stuff and she got the hand-me-downs. So she kept recreating being less than all the people in her world for over and over and over until she was able to break through. And you can use the techniques in the book, and on the book portal, we have the actual neuroscientist guiding you through the releasing techniques. So you can just get it all done for you. But the point being, it's a kind of cool game to just go, if I want to know what my blocks are, look at life now. What does it remind me of in my past? What are the dots I can connect? And then do the releasing. We offer 4 different modalities for releasing. That's the good news. You're not stuck with that junk. It's conscious. You get to change it. All revisable.
Good. Oh my goodness. Yes. I love that we get to change it, that, it's helpful to look at, okay, where might have I picked it up? What are some of the things that I have that I don't even really know that I have? But we also get to know that that is not going to define our future. We get to change it, especially with the neuroscience principles. I love that you combine that, because we both know mindset is so important. The beliefs that we have create our feelings, create our actions, create the result. Everything. And that has to be looked at along with then having the practical pieces that we can then take action on. But we can't get the results from taking action if we are navigating from those limiting beliefs.
It's like swimming upstream. We'll
Yeah.
sabotage or we'll feel. So for me, a big piece was unworthiness. It just like, I have some friends who didn't pick that one up, in which I'm always like, oh, that's so cool. Like you didn't ever get that
Yeah.
message.
How did you escape that
I'm
one?
like, I'm so in awe. I'm like, who didn't have that message, right? But it was really, it's really deep in the women in my family, particularly. And we don't deserve it. We're not good enough, all the things, right? And most of it's from trauma, many generations of trauma, and being immigrants and all the stuff that we all, have different
Yep.
versions of. And the point is, all we need to do is find out what it is, like a little sifter, and we bring it up, and then we get to transform it and release it. So I had a good friend. So I was supporting her, and she goes to AA, like Alcoholics Anonymous. And there was a great speaker one time when I went with her, and she said something like, it would suck if there was only a one-step program. If you come in and find out like, I'm powerless over this, my life is screwed.
That's
That
it.
would, but guess what? There's 11 more steps. And so I kind of think that with abundance work, don't worry. If you feel like if you do that quick little game and say, is my money where I want it to be? If it's not, it's so okay. In fact, you just took a step to having more by
Yeah.
even looking at it. And then you're just going to look at, what gets to be cleared. Sometimes we have money, but we're working so hard. I see this in so many of our clients. I'm looking at this myself, because that's what's in there, a false belief that, that we have to work hard for it.
Yeah,
That we have
I
to
definitely
struggle,
had that one. And I
right?
picked that up from the women in my family, that
Yeah.
not only would you have to work hard, but you didn't get very much money by doing that. But
Oh,
you have to
completely.
work
I was
so-
you work hard and get paid like crap. That was
Yeah.
the motto, right? Like not a good one. So that's the exciting part. Like, remember, 11 more steps. If we use that, that analogy,
Yeah.
in this case, there's only 2 more that you need to do, but the releasing is so worth it. So if anyone wants to just do it with a game or get a friend and just say, yeah, we're going to sit down for 15 minutes. Like, is my money where I want? If it's not, what might I have picked up? Another fun question, if you don't even want to go to childhood, is just say, what would someone have to believe to create this result?
Yeah.
That's even an easier one for a lot of my clients. They don't want to do the childhood things. Totally fine. You don't have to. What would someone have to believe to get this result? So like, let's say when I was making $20,000 and knowing I did great work, I was loving the work, so excited. Well, I had to believe I don't deserve more. I had to believe I'm not capable of more. I would have had to believe that, I have to work hard and not get paid very much. Shitty beliefs, right?
Yeah.
Not fun. But
Yeah.
just get them, use that. That's an NLP question, neuro-linguistic programming. What would someone have to believe to get this result? Identify those, write them down, and then just go to the book portal and release them. Just get them out. And it will, in a few minutes, change your financial destiny.
So good. Oh my goodness. Sara, this is so good. This is so powerful. I want to encourage everybody to go to the book portal. Like, Sara has got so many free resources for you to take advantage of, that definitely we're going to share the link for everybody. It's going to be inside of the Shine Wealthy Hub. So, just look for Sara's picture, click on the link below. You will absolutely be able to have access to some of Sara's amazingness. And Sara, what is it that we get to share? What is it that you get to share with our people?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, right now I just feel like I want everyone to go and do that release exercise and go to the portal and really, so I'm like, and in the book, there's the QR codes. If you have the book or get the book, and then Chris is going to share it. Just, you can go directly there, and you can bypass and go right there. So, and I know, Chris, you can tell me what this group has access to in this show, other goodies and things. But I really want, what I'm wanting to share in my heart is for everybody today to have a financial breakthrough. Because here's the deal. Those of you watching are already doing what you came here to do. Yeah. And if you're in Chris's community, go train with Chris. Chris has the phenomenal programs to be able to help you put the pieces together. That was the breakthrough for you, is like, stop trying to do this. When I went from 20,000 to 6 figures, $500,000, $1 million last year, probably multi-million this year. We're on track for that. And I did that by investing in a coach like you, Chris. I didn't know you yet, but it's like I got into a program. People who knew how to do it in a way that inspired me. My resistance had been, I don't want this to be this hardcore hustle drive, and you're not like that. So that's what I really want everyone to do.
Thank you. Yes, same for me, right? Like, I didn't do this on my own. What allowed me to step into the 6-figure realm in the very beginning was having somebody that was showing me both mindset and also the practical how-tos. And it collapsed the timeline for me. It allowed me to move forward quicker, getting my message out, knowing what to do, how to do it. Because unfortunately, as coaches, we're just not taught how to do that, how to build a business. We're taught to coach. We're
We
taught to
get
do
our
amazing
skills.
things.
It's like my authors I coach, we're writers. We
Yeah.
finally learn to write a book, which is the biggest deal. And then someone's like, oh, now you got to launch it, market it, promote it, build a platform.
Yep.
It's a rude awakening as
Yeah.
a practitioner or an author to go, oh, there's like a business of this. And the good news is, Chris, you make it fun, you make it powerful, you make it authentic, you make it in balance and remember, wellness and wealth, same amazing lead into those words. And you are championing and bringing those together and living them, right? Because we know that wealth, and in the Science of Getting Rich Women, it is not just money.
No,
okay. It's
so
wealth
much
of
more.
creativity, wealth of time, wealth of love, wealth of joy, wealth of presence, wealth of relationship. That's the science of getting rich for women. So that's what I'm saying. Everyone go take advantage of it.
And go get Sarah's book. Like, seriously, y'all, you will absolutely love it. I've got the Southern coming out in me, the y'alls. It's so good. Such a great book. Sara, thank you so much. I am just so excited for our conversation that we had today. And I really do want to encourage everybody to, after this video, take 10 minutes, take 15 minutes, do the release work. It's powerful. And it's actually something that many people miss.
Yeah.
Many people miss this piece, and, just give yourself a moment to uncover kind of what might be there.
Yeah.
And then, you'll find like such an aha or an epiphany that is then going to lead you into just that next step.
Yes, it works. That's the great part. I mean, Chris, the first 20 women that did the book as a book club this spring, when it came out, made over $1 million in additional income in 8 weeks. In 8 weeks. And none of these people were already making, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. It was a collective rising tide. So the release step, just that's why I spoke to that one. The other steps feel a little more fun. This one actually gets fun because you're like, get it out. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Oh, thank you so much, Sara. Okay, everybody, we will see you back here. Again, don't forget, go to your hub. You get a ton of freebies. You have access to amazing goodies from Sara, and we will see you back here with our next guest on Shine Wellthy. Thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you, Sara.